people who come to do the course, after doing Pilates for a year as a student, don't last the course.
Oh,
And that made me like, ये कैसा course है? मुझे तो अभी करना ही है. When do you squat where your knees are not going over your feet to pick up something, or you go into like a deadlift to pick up something.
right.
Kareena Kapoor was one of my first people that did Pilates with me. ये Pilates क्या है? ये
Correct.
pilates क्या है? ये plates क्या है?
Yeah.
I trained Hardik when he was injured with his back. My dermatologist always prescribes sunscreen. She says even when you're indoors, you need to have your sunscreen on. 25 hours of observation. After each course, if you've gone through my course and I've told you and you've said, oh, I've finished my 75 hours, and I make you do one exercise, by the way you do that exercise, I will know whether you know the exercise or you're bluffing through it. People are on a seafood diet. They want to eat what they see. Katrina is one of the people who's so hardworking that she makes you want to work hard around her.
Today we have a very special guest on our podcast. She is an OG fitness instructor and a pioneer in Pilates. She has almost 14 Pilates studios all over India and abroad. She's none other than the famous Yasmin Karachiwala. I think she has trained almost all Bollywood celebrities right now, and the most famous ones like Kareena Kapoor, Katrina Kaif, and Alia Bhatt. We are so excited to hear about all the phenomenal journey and how she got Pilates to India. So she was the first Pilates instructor in India, and I think when she started this journey, nobody even have heard the word, right? How to pronounce Pilates, I believe, right?
Most people hadn't, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me more about it, about your journey, how you started.
So basically, what happened was I was into fitness already for 15 years. I started out as an aerobic instructor. I used to teach step aerobics in that time, group classes. And then my kids were born. I became a personal instructor. I did my course. I did my training. And then I started a little studio in my house on the terrace. And that was my dream. Back then, that I wanted to have my own fitness studio in my house and have people come for personal training to my house rather than go house to house or go to gyms and train them, which was also a very new concept in those days because people normally call their instructor to the gym or call them home. And I had 2 little kids. I didn't like going to people's houses because I think when you go to people's houses, they don't take you seriously.
Yeah.
The driver will come for something,
They'll
the
take
maid
some
will
phone calls,
come,
yeah.
some sabzi wala will come, the dhobi will come, and you're just waiting there, and it's very disrespectful. So I told my husband, can I start calling people home? At first, he didn't understand the concept. And I said, the guest room, nobody's using it. I'll just convert that into a little studio. I invested in a few equipment. And I started calling people home. At first, they were like, why? I said, because you don't have to invest in the equipment. I'm investing.
Which year was that?
I think this was in 2001. Yeah, my son was 1 year old, my younger son. So I started calling them home. They came. They really liked the vibe. More people started coming. So from the living room, I took over from the guest room, I took over my living room. More people started coming by word of mouth. We have a terrace flat. So I asked my husband, can I convert a part of the terrace into a studio? And I'll have my own studio. Our terrace has another door that gets into it. So I was like, people won't even come into the house. They'll go straight to the studio. And his carrot was that I would always be home for the kids, right? And I have 2 boys, and I wanted to be home because at any given point, they were ready to kill each other. So I started the studio in my house, which was my dream. Again, it very quickly got overcrowded.
What were you teaching then? Was it Zumba? Aerobics?
No, I was doing personal training.
Okay.
I was doing weights. I was doing functional training. I had a TRX back then. I used to teach on that. So a whole mix of different things. And it was doing pretty well. And I was doing well. I had people I now knew my craft. And I wanted to learn something new. And I think that's always been my thing. When I'm happy and I'm comfortable and I've settled in, I'm like, now what? Now what can I learn? So I heard about Pilates and I heard that it works the core. I'd had 2 kids. I
Right.
always had a little belly fat that wouldn't go with anything I did. So I said, oh, this sounds good. I called up this studio in California. I researched which was the best studio. It was in LA. And I said, I want to come and learn Pilates. And they said, oh, great. What's your experience in Pilates? So I was like, I don't have any experience because
Right.
nobody in India teaches Pilates. And they said, well, to become an instructor, you need to be a student for a year and practice it. And I said, I don't have that luxury because no one in my country teaches it. And I just want to come and learn.
Right.
And they said, it's very intimidating. A lot of people who come to do the course, after doing Pilates for a year as a student, don't last the course.
Oh.
And that made me like, ये कैसा course है? मुझे तो अभी करना ही है. So I said, no, I'm coming. I weight train. I've done group classes. I've been an instructor for 15
So you
years.
thought it would be easy, right?
I thought it would be. I didn't think it would be as difficult as it turned out to be. So I went there and I started doing my course. And
So how did you manage the kids then? Like,
my in-laws came and stayed with me.
wow.
So I went for, I think the first time I went for a month and a half because I only thought I'll go and do mat Pilates. I didn't
Right.
even know anything beyond mat Pilates.
Right. Right.
And I went there and it was a 1.5-month course.
Right.
I got a studio apartment across the studio and I used to spend like 12 hours there. But when I went there, I saw the equipment
Right.
and it was
The
love
form.
at first. The reformer,
Yeah.
the chair, the Cadillac, the
Yes.
the barrels, and it was like love at first sight.
Right.
I went up to my instructor and I said, I want to learn equipment. And he said, but you said nobody even teaches Pilates. I said, yes, but I will bring it back. When I heard the price of the equipment, I almost had a mini heart attack. It was really expensive. Because if it was like $3,000 an equipment
Plus,
in America,
yeah.
by the time it came to
Import
India, it would
duty,
be
freight.
$5,500
Absolutely. Yeah.
for one piece.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't care. I'm gonna take one back.
Hmm.
But the cost for the equipment was 3 months. I had only gone for 1.5 months. I called my in-laws and I was
To
like,
check whether
I
continue.
want to do this. And my father-in-law very sweetly said, do whatever you want to do, beta. We're here. But I couldn't sign up for the rest of the course because I'd already booked my tickets. And imagine tickets like 15 years back to change to,
Yes, it wasn't that easy.
It wasn't that easy. So I said, okay, I'll come back for the second half of the training after 6 months. And my instructor thought it was a good idea. He said, go learn the first half of mat and some equipment. Go practice. Get it into your body. And that's the thing we do in Pilates. To become a Pilates instructor, you have to feel the exercises in your body to be able to teach it. And so, I came back. I bought a reformer and a chair and a half trapeze. I put it in my living room, exactly where we're sitting. And I practiced on it. I took some clients.
But you were already very fit, isn't it? Like you were into exercise.
Yes, but it's a whole different science. It requires a whole different set of skills to do Pilates.
So what change you felt in your body, like once you started?
Everything. It kind of became my Bible to fitness because it taught me that everything that I'd been doing till then was all superficial. Like I was working my legs and I was working my arms and I was doing lunges and squats, which are great exercises, but are they functional?
Yes.
When do you squat where your knees are not going over your feet to pick up something? Or, you go into like a deadlift to pick up something.
Right.
It's not
The right
functional.
angle, the right, yeah.
Exactly. Though I, for even my strength training, had a great instructor. My guru, Sensei Parvez Mistry, taught me never to compromise on form. So I already had a foundation from Sensei Parvez Mistry that when I learned Pilates, it kind of all fell. It was like pieces of a puzzle that just fell together and created something beautiful. It taught me how to work the body from inside out.
So don't you think people who get sports injury or let's say gym injury is because of the wrong form?
There are a lot of factors. I
A lot of
wouldn't say
reasons.
wrong form. I would say lifestyle.
But I've seen many
I would
times
say
people doing it in the wrong form, which is actually
that is also
not.
true.
Yes.
Ignorance to the
Yeah.
form,
Yeah.
lifting not the right amount of weights for your body, not being prepared, jumping into an exercise without laying the foundation for it. There are many reasons for injuries, right? It could be an injury that's been with you that got aggravated because you did something in the gym. So there are a lot of things. The thing that I find with Pilates is it teaches you how to engage your core
Yeah.
with every exercise that you do.
Right. Right.
So your chances of injury become much less, and your recovery, if you've been injured, becomes much more. It becomes faster.
So then what happened once you got the reformer back?
So I got one reformer back. I practiced. I got my friends to come and practice. I practiced on
On the
their
reformer.
bodies.
Yeah.
I practiced on my friends' bodies, on my family's bodies. I did it. And then I went back
And you saw the
because the
transformation.
first thing, when I went back to do the second half, I had to do an exam to make sure that I knew enough to be able to do the second half. Now it's not as difficult to learn Pilates as it was when back in the day when I learned it. Now I teach trainers. We have a whole academy. I'm building my own Pilates academy. And I did it. I came back. I started training. Kareena Kapoor was one of my first people that did Pilates with me. Fell in love with it. Word of mouth. People got to know. There was a lot of curiosity. What is this pilates that's come into the market? ये Pilates क्या है? ये pilates क्या है? ये plates क्या है?
Yeah.
And people would ask me,
I
what is
can
it?
recall that. Some people used to call it pilates. Yeah.
Pilates, plates, Pilates, all kinds of names. And it was okay. It was a new science. It took me time. I had actually in my book written in Hindi, Pilates. So I'd written it in Hindi to
So
be
that
able
people
to
get it.
pronounce, no, for myself,
Okay.
to pronounce it right when I was studying it, right? So I came back, people started asking, what is it? The price point was higher than my personal training in the gym. People wanted to know, why is it higher? What is it about this? There was a lot of curiosity. The only answer I gave is, come do a session. Don't ask me questions. I cannot explain to you. You have to feel it. And that's how Pilates grew. I mean, people came, they experienced, they understood it. In one session, you kind of feel something in your body feels different, and
So
now
what
you
is
have
ratio
Pilates.
male and female in Pilates classes?
I would say in the last 2 years, the male ratio has gone up considerably. Before that, people used to think it's a chick thing.
Yes.
I've gone a lot on social media, on interviews to say that Pilates was formed by Joseph Pilates, who was a man during World War I for the injured soldiers who were men.
Yes.
So it was an exercise science created by a man for men. And that's the origin of it.
Right.
It's just that when Joseph Pilates moved to America, his studio was above a ballet studio.
Okay.
And one of the ballerinas got injured, and somebody told her, oh, there's at that time it was called Contrology. They said, oh, there's this Mr. Pilates. He teaches some form of exercise. He says it's great. Why don't you go up? And so the ballerina, who was super flexible, went to Mr. Pilates, who helped her recover from her injury.
Right.
When she came back to dance, her mates, her friends, and her co-workers saw that she was performing better than before. So something in her body had changed with Pilates and the curiosity. So they all started going to Mr. Pilates to say, what is it? But what happened was, ballet teaches you stretch. Pilates teaches you to stretch with strength.
Right.
So now when she went back to do ballet, she was stretching with strength, which really made a difference to her movement.
Right.
And so a lot of the ballerinas started going and, doing the Pilates, and even the men who were doing ballet. But of course, they weren't bulky, men, robust men. So
Yeah.
people thought that men did Pilates. And then Hollywood heard about it. So a lot of the Hollywood actresses started going and doing Pilates because one of Mr. Pilates' students, Ron Fletcher, had taken his work to the West Coast.
Mm.
And that's how a lot of the female started doing it.
Mhm.
And slowly men started hearing about it. Like if you go to the West, a lot of sportsmen do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Ronaldo does it.
Yeah.
I think there was a video of Ed Sheeran that went viral where he was doing Pilates, and basketball players do it.
I'll share a reel with you where these soccer players have come and trying
I know
you've
that
seen
reel,
that?
yes.
They're screaming,
But
right?
that is what happens with men. Like
Yeah.
right now I'm training Ajit Agarkar,
Hmm.
and he's been a cricketer. He now is a golfer, and
Right.
he works out, and the changes that he feels in his body are incredible.
Right.
I trained Hardik when he was injured with his back before he went for back surgery, and I used to make him do the most simple exercises, and his body would react to that. So it's great. I mean, if you ask me, I think all our cricketers should be doing Pilates.
Yeah.
Their game
makes
is
them very
so much
flexible, I
better.
think,
Yeah.
yeah?
It
Yeah.
makes them flexible and strong from
Strong.
within.
Yes.
So we do a lot of lateral flexion, rotation movements, which is what all sportsmen need in their game.
So Yasmin, you are inspiration to so many women, right? And generally, I have noticed, like even with me, it happens. Generally, people don't want to know about the journey; they just look at the destination. And I think you must have also faced a lot of challenges
Yes.
reaching here. Was it very difficult, or it was a kind of a smooth ride, not very bumpy?
It was a very bumpy ride. So fitness.
See, even I was feeling this.
Yeah, it was a very bumpy ride. Everyone sees the end result and it's
Yes,
great
yes.
and it's hunky dory. Like I said to you earlier, my dream was having a studio in my terrace. And that was like when I had that, I said, okay, I've achieved
But
it.
it's a very quiet, sweet
hired-
dream, right?
Yeah,
Quite looks
I
like very
wasn't-
doable.
but I wasn't like a go-getter. Like it wasn't something, fitness was not something that I had sought. It was not something that I had planned. It's something that just came my way, and I kind of embraced it, and it became my life. I was actually a teacher.
But you were always this fit, or you have
No,
trained
I was
yourself
what
to
you
be?
would call pleasantly plump. I
Really?
love to eat. I would eat more than all the boys I knew when I was a teenager. They used to call me I was a tomboy. I could eat a full plate of biryani when the young boys with me couldn't finish half. I never worked out. I was very lazy. I would not get up to get a glass of water from the kitchen. I would ask somebody to get it for me. I always made excuses. My parents had put me in athletics when I was in school. I had a stomachache or a headache every morning. I never went. The only thing I was good at was shot put and javelin because it showed strength and you didn't have to move. And I would do march past because I was pretty tall in my class and I got to hold the flag of the school.
Right.
So for me, that was like, I think I was a bit of a show off. So it was like, okay, I can be in the front holding the flag. I'll do march past.
Right.
I knew in every other sport I would be the last person, so I never even tried. I used to not work out, like I said, and my best friend when I was I think 17 or 18 started dating a boy, and she wanted to look good and lose weight. There was a new health club that had started in our vicinity, which was the first health club with sauna, steam, jacuzzi,
Oh, wow.
and and this is literally about 35 years ago. Okay, so
Good Lord.
and there was a scheme, two for the price of one. So
Mm.
she forced me to join this health club with her so that she would have to pay half and I would pay half, and I had no interest. She said, you're so lazy. You only eat. You don't even walk up and down the stairs in your house.
Right.
You're whatever. You need to do this. So I said, and if you love me, So that was the clinch, right? When you were young, your friend told you, if you love me, you will jump out of the window
Yeah,
to
friends did
prove
everything
that,
for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I joined it. She knew exactly what she wanted to do because she had a goal. She had to look good for a new relationship. I had no goals, so I was wandering around the health club, checking out the steam, the jacuzzi, and then I saw this room where people were kind of dancing, which said aerobics. I thought when I was 17, 18, I was an amazing dancer. So I said, Acha, ye main kar sakti hu. So I have very confidently gone into this class and started doing everything wrong because it was aerobics. It was
Yeah,
coordinated.
yeah.
I had zero coordination. So when the class was going right,
You're going left.
I was going left. When the instructor was saying me up, I was kicking people. I think I like bumped into a few people, kicked a few people, got the most dirty looks. At the end of the class, everyone like looked at me like, you don't belong. Something in me hurt. I was like, how can I be so bad? So I decided I am going to prove all these people who've looked at me wrong. So I kept going back to the class every single day. And I would go and stand right in front. And everyone would be like, listen, you don't know the steps, stand at the back. And I was like, no, I want to look in the mirror because that's how I learn the steps. So I kept going. One day the instructor was sick. So she called me at home and she was like, hey, I'm not feeling well. Can you
Take the class.
take the class? I was like, what do you mean take the class? She said, no, just go teach my class.
Right.
I don't know how to teach. She said, just put any of the cassettes in and do whatever comes to your mind. So I went, I said, okay, put the cassette and played it. And I knew the entire routine of 10 songs. I knew every step. I knew every repetitions. I could cue them because in my subconscious, I had heard her so many
That means
times.
it was in you, right?
It could, yeah, it was. So I was, and at the end of the class, these same people who'd looked at me came and said, when did you do this? So I said, do what? They said, when did you learn? And I said, I didn't. I mean, with you guys. So that was the start. Apparently, that teacher who was sick was pregnant. So she had
got
an
more time to
afternoon
teach.
class. So she said, will you teach me
Yeah.
afternoon class and I'll give you money. And at 18, for someone to say, I'll give you money was like, oh my God,
Very
I'm earning.
Yeah.
So I would go to college, I'd come back, I'd teach her class in the afternoon. And that's how the journey began. I wanted to be a teacher, teach kindergarten kids. And that was my dream and my passion. So after I finished graduation, I was going to enroll in Sophia's to do my early childhood care and education. And before that, I was going to America for 3 months on a summer camp where I was teaching as a counselor. And the same instructor who was teaching me said, why don't you go do a aerobic course? I said, what is that? Have you done it? She said, no, nobody in India has done it. That's why I'm telling you, go do it. You'll be the first. I said, but I'm not interested. I taught your class. She said, but I think you're good at it. Go do it. Come back. We'll start something in partnership. I said, okay, if I'm going to America and I have to do it, how difficult can it be without knowing anything about fitness? I taught her class and I've been teaching. So I went, got the shock of my life because I needed to know science.
For aerobics?
Anatomy.
Oh.
You needed to know anatomy. I was an economics student. I knew no anatomy. So I failed. Okay, it was like a 2.5 month course. And I failed when I gave my exam because the only other exam I'd given before that was my college and school, where we didn't have multiple choice. We had answers.
Of
So we
course.
used to write essays.
Of course.
एक ही चीज बार बार
Right.
करा के different
Right.
different style में. Here it was all multiple choice. You either knew it or you didn't.
Of course.
And I failed because the passing percentage was 75. And I think I got like 70. And I said, life में मुझे 70 नहीं मिला है. And I've got 70 and that's
And
a
still I
fail.
failed.
So I was again I was shocked that I failed at something. Of course, I gave it again and then I studied
You passed.
seriously and I passed and came back and started teaching aerobic classes, step aerobic classes. And so then I was teaching kids in the morning, half day, because it was kindergarten. And then I used to teach aerobic classes in the evening. And that was my life till I got married. Then I had my own kids. Then I stopped teaching and I focused on fitness. And that's how I became a personal trainer, because I said, "Abhi, aerobics is, limited group class. I want to do personal training." There weren't that many personal female trainers in those
Right.
days. There were only men. And my friends were like, "We've heard we need to strength train, but we don't want to do it." So then I went back and did another course in personal training. And yeah, I'm still studying.
So one thing is clear, that is inbuilt in you, right? The
I
the synchronization and music and maybe dance, right? Because I don't think you can really adapt it or learn. How
So
hard
the
you can
thing
try.
is, with aerobics, you have to teach on the beat,
Yeah.
right?
But the
Now,
beat has to
yeah,
be.
if you ever
Yeah.
hear me sing, you will wish you had never met me.
No,
Okay? I mean, I'm
don't
that
so
bad. I'm
don't be so
very
hard.
visceral. I'm very.
No, but but
The
the
reason
dancing thing, I
yeah.
still believe that it was somewhere inbuilt, because you
So
just
when you
started
train
teaching.
abroad, you'll
Yeah.
learn one of the courses, one of the chapters is to listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of our chapters back in the day when I did my aerobics, which I think was in 1991, I don't even know how many years, I think 35 years back, we had to listen to music. We had to listen to the beat. We had to train on the beat. So if you did a step, it had to be tuck, 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 tuck. It couldn't be tuck. Your movement couldn't come after the beat. Now, that was something that, because I guess I learned it abroad, we were made to listen to it. We were made to hear it. We were made to catch it. There were 8,
Yeah.
it was called like a phrase. So there were 8, 16. You had to, every beat is only 8 or it's only 16. And you have to cue according to that. You have to choreograph your workout according to that. So it was a lot of like working with music and
But tell
knowing
me
the
one
beat.
thing, why instructors here, they are always in a hurry. Like, it's very difficult to find a good instructor, people who give time to learn. I have seen even Pilates instructor like in Delhi, Gurgaon. Even I have been through Pilates training, but I'm never happy with the instructor, because they have learned like done a very short course, and they have no background. They just come and start teaching.
So I think it's
And
I think
same goes in the gym.
I think it's a culture thing, right? Like I told you that when I was in college and school, I could pass because I could like wing my way through it, right? I mean, I knew my subject, but I knew how to write a lot more. I said when I went to do my first aerobic exam, I failed
Right.
because I thought, अभी ये नहीं आ रहा है tic tac toe करके, but it's not like that. When you learn abroad, they make sure you know the subject. They don't pass you unless you don't know the subject. You have to take the time to study. When I went for Pilates, I told you my instructor's first thing was, how long do you know Pilates? Now, because I had background of anatomy from my other trainings,
Right.
it wasn't bad. But when we get people, and now, like I said, I have my own Pilates academy
Right.
that I've
I
started.
know that. Yeah.
We're very strict with our with the instructors that we train. We teach them. We only give them their certificate when they match the criterias that we've set. There are so many 25 hours of personal practice, 25 hours of training a client, who's a family friend, whoever, 25 hours of observation after each course. Okay. Now you can't dhap your way through it.
Yeah.
Because if you've gone through my course and I've told you and you've said, oh, I've finished my 75 hours and I make you do one exercise, by the way you do that exercise, I will know whether you know the exercise or you're bluffing through it. Right? So like I said, Pilates is a science. It's the way you do it.
Right.
It's every movement has breath associated with it.
Right.
Every movement has stretch and strength associated with it.
Right.
So you have to, if you want to be a good Pilates instructor, you have to take time to learn it. To learn, like I said, practice, practice, practice. So the one thing I tell all my students is practice, practice,
I think that
practice.
applies to everything. Anything you are learning, it's
And
about
I
it.
still practice my
Yeah.
Pilates.
Yeah.
I still practice every day is like 45 minutes to an hour of Pilates practice happens.
I think anything you are doing, sports, music, learning,
Everything.
anything,
Yeah.
you need to
So as
practice.
instructors in our country, we become so busy training others that we forget that we also need training.
Not that. What I've seen the young trainers and even in the gym, they don't know which muscle they are training, which body they part they are strengthening.
That's why we need to ask people for certifications. I think it's about time that in India we ask people, oh, you're a gym instructor, what's your certification? Oh, you teach Pilates, which school have you passed out from?
Right.
Because like you said, they can do a weekend course and
Yeah.
say, I know Pilates.
Yeah.
I'm charging 1,000 rupees less than that.
But we
class.
always feel that we don't want to sound rude and we just.
But it's not rudeness anymore.
Hmm.
Would you rather sound rude or have an injury and then pay big doctor bills?
Correct. Agree to that.
Right? So I think people need to really wake up and ask, what is your certification? I had somebody today who came to me from Lucknow and she said, I went to Pilates class in Lucknow and I joined for 20 classes, but I didn't go after 7. And I said, why? She said, because in my first class, they made me hold a plank. They made me do stuff which was so tough. She said, I work out and I couldn't go through the workout. I was waiting. I was looking at the time to see how much time left. When is this class going to get over? And today, when I finished the 1 hour with her, she was like, we're done? 1 hour is over? So I was like, yeah. She says, but I could do everything. I said, but that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You are meant to do everything. You're
Right.
paying me
Yeah.
for doing stuff, right? You're not
Right.
paying me for me to show you what you can't do. You already know what you can't do, right? I have to make you do what you can't do gradually by making you do things that you can do. So I think if people start becoming more conscious of people who train them, of the knowledge they're giving, are they telling you what muscle you're working? Are they telling you a little more? Like, so in my setup, we educate our clients. And initially, when I started it, people used to say, but if you tell them everything, why will they come back to you?
So any
Like-
of your student has become an instructor?
Yes, a lot of my students, but not only my students, my office boys have become instructors.
Wow.
Yeah, for me, that is an achievement. My office boys who've been working for me for now, 15 years, is now training the current one is training to be an instructor. He doesn't speak English. He's been only an office boy, but he's interested. So we've set some protocols for him. I had another office boy who couldn't read or write,
Wow.
and
That's
he's one
wonderful.
of my best instructors.
Really?
So this is my third office boy that's on his journey. And I think that for me is like
That's
a
amazing.
success story,
Yeah.
because these are people who come from a different strata of society, never think they can be on par with, and then they feel so empowered.
Yeah, empowering them.
Yes,
Yeah, good,
it's
right?
like
Yeah.
it feels amazing.
Yes.
And the respect that they get then.
Yes, of course. And how do you relate nutrition to exercise?
Hand in glove.
So do you generally people think I'm exercising, I can eat anything to everything?
So, there are 2 reasons why we eat, right? One is to stay alive and to look good and have good skin and have good hair and for your health. And one is to lose weight, right?
How
When
about
you,
the third part? I don't think the first one people are really like thinking about being alive. Second, losing weight. I think the third is the food is very good. They just
Right.
like to eat something.
that's their eyes they're eating with.
Mm.
They're not eating with their mouths and their stomachs. So a lot of people, I call it seafood diet.
Mm.
People are on a seafood diet. They want to eat what they see.
Mm.
Right? So I feel like for me, my relationship with food and the relationship of people around me with food is, look at the food. What is it saying to you, right? Is it a
It's
fried
saying
chicken?
eat me. The
But
cake
that
and
that
the
that that cake that's saying eat me, which is full of sugar, is going to give you diabetes, cancer, any inflammation in your body that you have, it's going to aggravate it. It's going to weaken your immunity. You
So
know.
how about all the patisseries and the cakeries?
So a lot of people have started using healthier options. Now, when you say it's a healthy option, doesn't mean it's a sugar-free option or a calorie-free option. It just means that it's healthier than eating maida. Almond flour is healthier than eating maida. Almond flour is richer than maida, so you need to eat less of that, right? Eating coconut sugar is better than eating refined sugar. But it doesn't mean that coconut sugar has no calories. So you know how I go to friends' houses who've ordered healthy clay cakes, which are gluten-free, sugar-free, and they'll say, "Arey, it's gluten-free, it's sugar-free, eat it, it's healthy." I'm like, but it's not calorie-free, right? And if I'm on a caloric intake diet where I'm watching, that is going to add to my calories. Do I want to? Yes, of course I want to have 1 or 2 bites, which will satiate me.
So do you think before training your body, you need to train your mind?
I think it's simultaneous.
Right.
And I feel like if you give your body the right combination of food,
Hmm.
your urge to indulge and cheat will go down. So if
Hmm.
every meal of yours has carbohydrates, good carbohydrates, protein, fat, vitamins, fiber, if you every meal has all of these, then your body won't crave unhealthy things. It's when we don't nourish our bodies that our body wants to
Eat
indulge
more or
in.
indulge in junk food, right? So what do you serve when you have parties at home?
Oh, my
Apples and
parties.
carrots? No.
No, apples and carrots don't go together. Fruit and
Oh my goodness.
vegetable. Carrots and cucumbers
So, like
and hummus
before you
dip.
before you eat, you have to really think what you're eating.
Yeah,
right?
so I always have a dip, like a hummus dip with
Hmm.
cucumbers,
No alcohol?
carrots, capsicum. Relative, it depends.
Hmm.
Um, I always have baked starters rather than fried starters. I have gluten-free pizza with paneer and
Sourdough
the
pizza.
cheese, or sourdough, avocado toast, or like if I'm doing aloo tikkis, then I do baby potatoes and I put them in masala, or that's how I'll serve my aloo. I don't deep fry anything.
Wow.
I
So
air
when
fry
you
or
had your last pakoda or samosa? How many years back? Or you never had?
I have it. Maybe once in Ramzan, my mom will
And how about
have
vada
it,
pav?
and
Famous vada pav.
I have baked vada pav. And
The vada gets baked.
yeah, and even my samosa, my mom air fries it. Air fries it.
The taste is not the same. I
It's
think.
the same. It's the filling inside that's tasty. I eat very healthy.
How do you start your day?
I start my day by oil pulling, coconut oil pulling for 10 minutes every morning. And while I'm oil pulling, I listen to my prayers. So it's like a meditative time for me to start my day. And then I have a shot of turmeric with pepper, just for like an anti-immunity shot.
But do you have it like 365 days? Because I felt I was taking turmeric shots with amla, but then I felt little
Heaty.
yes.
Yeah, so then I switch to turmeric capsules.
Okay.
I alternate between that during
Because they
depending on the
generally
weather.
say you should take it from September to March.
No, I
The
take
weather
it
is like
every single
every
day
single
because I
day.
just feel like my immunity, touch wood, is great.
Hmm.
And then I have black coffee is my first thing I have, which I shouldn't.
Hmm.
It's the only thing in my day that I want to change, but not. But before I have my black coffee, I have a teaspoon of coconut oil.
For oil pulling?
No, for lining my gut, because Ayurveda says not to have black coffee on an empty stomach.
Or some people
So
mix it with the black coffee.
that's
okay. or
yeah,
no?
that's bullet coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, so that they mix either coconut oil or white butter.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullet coffee. But yeah, so I have coffee. Then the first thing then I work out. I do intermittent fasting, and I have my protein shake. With my protein shake, I chew on some carrots and cucumber because that's the first thing I'm chewing in the day. So I don't want to immediately eat lunch and carbs and stuff. So I train my body to start chewing. Then I have a shot of moringa powder and amla
But
with curry patta.
you are saying you are training. First thing that you chew, like we chew whole day. I mean, we're chewing something.
But I'm
like
doing
that.
intermittent fasting, right?
Right.
So I haven't chewed since my dinner the night before. So it's just basically to activate your glands to let them know more food is coming by eating simple to digest food.
Right.
And then I eat my lunch. My lunch could be
What
brown
time?
rice around 1:30.
So you have not eaten after dinner?
Yeah.
Till 1:30,
I do like
right?
about a 15 to 16 hour intermittent fasting.
But you had your coffee, black coffee,
Black coffee
and you
doesn't
had
break.
your shots.
Black coffee doesn't break intermittent fasting,
Okay.
and neither does coconut oil.
Okay.
And my moringa shot is had after my protein shake.
Okay. So you had protein shake in
Yeah,
the morning.
after my 14 hours or 16 hours, depending. Then I eat my lunch, which is always a carb. My carb could be brown rice or quinoa or amaranth. I'll have a protein, which can be chicken, fish, salmon, and I'll have vegetables.
Okay.
So I like to eat bowls because I normally eat lunch at the gym in my studio. So it'll always be a bowl with a portion of this, a portion of that, a portion of that, and then it's all mixed together. And in the evening, I'll eat a fruit with some nuts.
And dinner is what time?
And dinner is 8:30. It's always protein, vegetables, and
No carbs.
I eat potato for dinner. Like I'll have sweet potato. I don't eat carbs.
How about your family? Do they agree with your strict diet plan?
I don't look at it as a diet plan. I just look at it as a nutritious plan.
So are they allowed to eat?
Yeah. My boys have also gone the fitness path. My older son is already with me, and he owns his own studio, Pilates studio in Juhu. He started it. They're both very fitness oriented, and they love to work out. They're looking into eating more clean, so they have their own nutritionist, and they follow a plan very similar to mine. My husband, poor thing, has no choice.
He has to eat
He has to
what
eat
everyone is eating.
what
right?
we give him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wonderful. Do you also believe in trends? Like there's so many food things which keeps trending and they become very popular, then they fade away.
Like what?
Like taking an oil shot in the morning.
So that's not a trend.
A
That's
ghee.
called fat first.
Really?
And that's it's something that's been there forever, that you first have fat in your body in the morning to help metabolism, and it's called fat first, and it's been there for very, very long.
Really?
Yeah.
So anybody can take that, or you need to really go and
Unless you have a problem with the cholesterol or whatever, or you need to check it, I think it's safe.
anybody can.
Also, it also depends on what you're eating the rest of the day, right? If you're going to do fat first and then continue to have fat all through the day, it's not going to work. So it also depends why you want to do it, you know?
So don't you think, like you just mentioned about intermittent fasting, right? So don't you think like fasting we have in our religion and we have roza with Muslims, isn't it good? It's a good habit to give it a break. Your
I
body?
honestly feel that rosas are dry fasting. It's great for your body, but it's very different from intermittent fasting because intermittent fasting is water.
Right.
Plus, intermittent fasting you do during the night, where out of those 14 hours, you're sleeping for 8 hours. Whereas in rosa, out of those 12 to 14 hours, you're awake. And we're awake without water. So it's much, much harder.
Yeah. So I think a lot of mental training is required, right?
A lot of, and that is why you do rosa, right? It's it's discipline.
It's discipline. Yeah, willpower. You can
Yeah.
check your willpower, right? Yeah. So whenever after your classes, do you take a head bath or you avoid a head bath?
So I work out twice a day. And every time I work out, especially in this weather, my scalp gets wet with sweat and my hair is wet with sweat. And everybody says not to wash your hair very often. And I wouldn't wash my hair very often and my scalp would get itchy. But I think the FCL shampoos are so light. I love them because they're gentle enough for me to wash my hair almost every day
Right.
without leaving any residue in my hair. So I now wash my hair since I've discovered it almost every alternate day.
But this question is asked like many times. So, do you suggest people to wash their hair every day?
It depends on what kind of hair scalp they have. You know, I mean, some people who have very, very fine hair might not want to wash their hair every day
Yes.
because they don't want to. People who have very dry scalps might not want to wash their hair every day because then they're drying the scalp even more.
Right, right.
People who have oily scalps need to wash their hair almost every alternate day
Yes,
because
yes.
their scalp gets very oily. So it just depends on the kind of scalp you have and what works best for you.
And being in skincare for such a long time, I'll suggest people, especially in Mumbai or in South India, they should wash their hair every day. It's a humid climate, so you sweat, and the atmosphere has so much of humidity. Right?
Yeah, it
It's
also,
almost
I
60
think,
to
depends on
70%.
the length of your hair.
Yes.
So for me personally, in the summer, I chop my hair. Normally my hair is really long, but come April, May, I chop my hair at least 6 to 8 inches because then it becomes more manageable. It's
Right.
easier to wash and dry because
Right.
when you're on the go all the time, you don't have the luxury of washing and drying your hair every day.
Your skin is glowing. Is it exercise?
It is.
I'm
And it is
sure
the
because
products.
yeah.
I take care of my skin a lot. I'm very, very particular about what I put in my skin, on my skin. A lot of people come to the studio without moisturizing because they think they'll sweat more. And I think that's the reason Fix Derma has this range, which I think is
Moisturizing.
meant for me because your moisturizers are lightweight and, I use them in the morning. I first, of course, cleanse my face thoroughly in the morning. Then I moisturize it and I always wear a serum. And I find that your serum is non-comedogenic.
Yeah, it doesn't give you any
Non-comedogenic, so it doesn't
acne,
have any residue
any
that
breakouts.
can
Yeah.
lead to clogging my pores when I work
Right,
out. So
right.
I've tried it, and when I'm doing exercise, I don't feel like, oh my God, it's sticky or, I'm doing something wrong. So I really like it.
You have trained so many Bollywood stars, right? Um, who was the first one, and who was
Kareena
the most
Kapoor.
difficult one?
Kareena Kapoor was my first one.
Right.
None of my stars are difficult. I think it's a two-way street, right? They will behave with you the way you will behave with them. So if I give respect, I demand respect.
Anyway, you are teaching, you're the guru, so I don't think they'll be difficult to you, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think it's just the relationship you form with people. It's the way you present yourself. Like earlier, we were talking about knowledge.
Right.
They know I'm not just giving them exercises. I have knowledge why I'm making them do what they do. So
Right.
it makes a
Right.
big difference.
And like Alia Bhatt, she lost all her pregnancy weight, right? So what exactly you are supposed to do? Like if a person is not, of course, a celebrity and they can't come to you, what, just in simple ways, what would you suggest?
So I do have sections on my Instagram where I talk about pre-post pregnancy
Yeah, postpartum, yeah.
exercises, postpartum exercises.
Right.
The first thing that mothers after delivery need to do, at least for the first 40 days, is listen to their body.
Right.
Okay, because their body has gone through childbirth, which is one of the most difficult things that we put
Yeah.
our body through as women. We have literally given birth to another human
Yeah.
being who's been in our stomach for 9 months. So our body is also going through a lot of shock because where your body was nurturing another human being from within, now there's suddenly a cavity and there's nothing there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to give your body time to adjust, to assimilate that knowledge that, okay, now I'm not doing that. I have to get back to my regular functions, because for 9 months, every function from your heart to every part of your body was only focused on two people,
Yeah.
right?
There
Now
are two
you're bringing,
heartbeats,
yeah,
right?
you're bringing it, and sometimes three if you're having twins, right? And then you're bringing it back to just one. I think people don't place enough value to understanding what a traumatic internal you know change that is for women's bodies.
Totally
So you
agree.
have to be very, very kind to yourself, kind to your body, listen to your body, sleep when you need to sleep, because anyway now you're looking after another human.
Yeah.
And even if you have all the help in the world, nothing can replace what a mother can do for a child.
Right.
Right. So I think that's really important. That's why postpartum depression sets in.
Yes.
Another thing is, when you are pregnant, the whole world is giving you attention.
Right.
The moment you deliver, the whole world is giving the baby attention, and the
Right.
attention is completely taken away from you,
Right.
and you have to manage.
And what to do with that inflated, the tummy is like inflated balloon and then it deflates.
So it deflates on its own. They say the more you breastfeed, the more your uterus contracts. Plus, I mean, there are different schools. Some schools believe in massages, some don't. Some believe in tying your stomach with the Navratan sari, some don't. They say let it be. Or in the West, they put this stomach belt that they wear around the belt.
Right.
There are so many things. I think be mindful of what you eat, especially after you deliver as well, because you have been eating for two. And
No, you're not
but you're
supposed
still
to.
nursing.
Yeah.
But all the food that you eat is not going to help you get more milk. Like if you're eating samosas and, vada paos or
That
things,
won't make
that's
more
not
health
going to give you
strong,
more
yeah.
milk. No, it's not
Right.
going to give you more milk.
Yes.
Milk production is very, very limited to certain foods that we need to include, in our diet. And in India, all our mother-in-laws make us this jar filled with all these herbs and
that
dry
do
fruits
that.
and whatever, and they say eat it. And there's something called suwa or something which apparently is heaty enough, and it helps in milk production and stuff. So I think going back to old women's tales, our grandparents, our great grandparents, is a great idea postpartum. Exercise when you feel your body is strong enough, and exercise very, very slowly.
Yeah.
Because when you get pregnant, your muscles get lax, they get relaxed because they've suddenly stretched. When you deliver, the stretched muscles are in limbo. Okay, they are stretched, but now the stomach has gone in, so everything has to contract back to its original size. You can't do it with vigorous training.
And you cannot do it within just few weeks. It takes
You
time.
cannot. Some people's bodies are great.
Yeah.
They bounce back. Some people's bodies are not. In the West, some of the actors, they deliver and their bodies come back to normal. I mean, but those are their genes.
Yeah.
They've been athletic all their life. They've worked out, they've done gymnastics, things like that. We haven't. Our bodies are very different. So we have to give it time. When you start an exercise program, definitely start with someone who's knowledgeable. There are lots of things now on YouTube and on Instagram, and people are only telling you what to do.
But too much
But
information.
find the credibility of the people that you follow.
So is Alia Bhatt very disciplined?
Super disciplined. Super disciplined.
Right.
So yeah.
Tell us about that Chikni Chameli incident. It's just like you all have heard about it.
Katrina Kaif.
But she was looking amazing in the dance for sure.
She's amazing. She's very hardworking.
Very hardworking.
Very hardworking. And I think Katrina is one of the people who's so hardworking that she makes you want to work hard around her. She has no tolerance for laziness and bullshit.
Good Lord.
Okay, no tolerance. Like literally sometimes when she's feeling lazy in the gym, she'll say, yes, you're behaving very lazy today. Come on, let's work. I'm like, So she is one of those people. When she was doing Chikni Chameli, I mean, we've all seen that dance, and if
Yes.
you haven't, then you must. She had to jiggle her body. Okay,
And she
like
didn't want any
jiggle.
fat to jiggle.
And she said, if any fat jiggles on my body ass, I'm going to tell the whole world what a bad trainer you are. I'm going to go on national television and tell them that.
And you took the threat seriously, or
No,
you
I took the
just
bait.
okay?
I took the bait and we worked really. See, but with people who are willing to work
Give,
hard to
give.
get those results,
Yes,
it's very easy to work with them
right.
because they listen. They listen on nutrition advice, they listen on lifestyle advice, they listen on exercise advice because they have a trust, and the trust also comes with years of, like, of course, I'm known as a celebrity,
Yeah,
fitness instructor, but I've not got my celebrity status because I only train celebrities. I feel like I've earned it because they trust me,
correct.
and it's that relationship that I've had with each one of them for over 10 years. Today they might go weight train somewhere else, but when they want to do Pilates, I know I'm their home.
And generally, people see those Insta bodies, the six pack abs and that curvy body, and they all think it's very easy to get. But I think there's a lot of
Everything
hard
on
work,
Instagram can
discipline,
be airbrushed.
right?
Everything. And now though you have apps, like sometimes when people come to me and they're like, can we take a selfie? And I look at their phone, I'm like, remove the filter. And they're like, no, this. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I have a rule. I don't take pictures with filters on. So, when people meet you, or like if I'm doing like a big class or an event, and people will come and say, can we take a selfie? I'm like, no filters. They sometimes think I'm mad. But I don't want to look like somebody else in a picture. Sometimes they have makeup filters. So you'll end up looking like, sometimes you're looking like some Lebanese
Yeah.
dancer. Sometimes your cheeks are so rosy and pink, and it's, no, not for me.
Yeah. I have seen people, they think these Bollywood stars, they just, I think at like this, they get the bodies. But they don't understand how much hard work goes into it, how much training and discipline goes into it.
That's
Right?
true, a lot.
And you have to have a very crazy, I think, mental strength
You do.
that you
You
need
do.
to look like this certain.
You have to be at the top of your game 24/7.
Hmm.
What we see, the glamour and everything that we see is not,
It doesn't come easy.
it doesn't come easy. It's
Yeah.
a lot of hard
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. And imagine you are like training twice in a day.
Yeah.
So why giving instructions you also do
No,
this and
I
not
don't.
always?
The only person I actually ever train with is Katrina, because she likes that challenge of training with me. Though she's much younger than me, I can give her a run for her money, because when we train together, she has to keep up with me. So she loves training with me, and she's the only person that I train with, and always have another instructor to watch her for.
So do you believe in sunscreen, or you think it's just a hoo-ha everywhere about it?
No, I am a firm believer in sunscreen.
Like
In
we
fact,
have a tagline, Har Din Sunscreen. So we really believe as a skincare company that you should wear
100%,
sunscreen.
100%, because my dermatologist always prescribes sunscreen. She says even when you're indoors, you need to have your sunscreen on. If you're looking at your phone, you're looking at your laptop, you need to
Right.
put sunscreen.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer in sunscreen, and I love the sunscreen that you have. And
So I think it's a very important part of your beauty regimen. Sunscreen is a must for everyone. Any skin type, any age group, they should use a sunscreen.
100%, I totally agree. And especially when it's non-comedogenic,
Yes.
right?
It should not give you any break.
Yeah, it shouldn't
Yes,
give you any
yes.
breakouts.
Right. So I have some very interesting rapid fire questions.
Oh, fire away.
Yeah. So tell me, you believe in an early bird workout or like a night owl?
I believe in the workout at the time that works for me.
So don't you think that early in the morning is the best time to do workouts?
Not for me.
Not really?
No, my body doesn't want to work out first thing in the morning.
Interesting. So do you believe that after the session you need to double cleanse, like really wash your face twice, thrice?
I think after a session, it depends on how much I've sweat. And it's basically sweat. It's not like I'm not putting dirt on my face. So a good thorough cleansing for me is enough.
And if I give you a choice of a cheat meal, what will you go for? A cake?
No,
No?
I'll go for chicken biryani.
You don't have a sweet tooth?
I do, but it's very under control. I don't eat sugar
So how come you have a sweet tooth if you don't eat sugar?
because I used to eat sugar. I stopped eating sugar about 11 years ago. And I have sugar substitutes.
So
I have
homemade
dates
chicken
and
biryani or from some special
no,
place?
homemade.
Homemade.
Yeah.
Hmm. And one thing you want to really change if you go back to your younger self, you should not have done or you should have done.
Hmm. Probably not troubled my parents so much.
You did.
Yeah, I was a
I think you are not exactly. I think most of the kids are like that.
no, I was bad. We used to live on the 12th floor, and I used to get out of my bedroom window and walk on the parapet
Oh my goodness.
of the 12th floor with no
Imagine your
railing.
boys doing anything like
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's some, and just for the sake.
Yeah. And tell me one actor or actress which you really wish to train.
I think I'm training them all. All the ones that I want to train, I'm training.
And any myth you think should disappear about fitness?
That it's a destination. It's not a destination, it's a journey. And it doesn't come easy. You can't get transformations. You can't get quick transformations.
Right.
You have to really work for that.
Right. And you won't believe, Yasmin, I think same thing we say for skincare. If you have pigmentation on your skin, if you have acne, it won't just disappear in a day. You need to have a religious,
Routine.
a regimen.
I totally agree with that because like I had some pigmentation and my dermatologist gave me a fixed derma cream to put, and she said, but if you don't put it every day, you won't see the results. So I did.
So many times with so many of our products, like we have some very interesting products. We have a very interesting product called Nigrifix, which is for nigricanicanthrosis. It's a skin problem, which actually it's darkness on your nape, on your neck, knees, and elbows. So that area is very dark and leathery type of a skin is there. So it's nothing like you're not showering properly, you're not taking care.
It just becomes
It's a
like
problem.
that. A lot of boys have it.
Yes, it's a skin problem which can go away if you are using the right product. So we have a product for that. We just got a patent for it. But the problem is people think we have just applied it and will just vanish.
Yeah.
So it will take good 1 month.
I saw my kids getting this when they were growing up, the boys. I'll go check their knees now, and if they still have it, I'm going to use it. So, Shelly, you've been asking me all these questions about myself. What about you? What's your journey? I believe you were abroad. What made you move back to India, and what's it been like?
My story is also very long, but I'll be brief. So we were in Southeast Asia, in parts of Southeast Asia. We have been in Cambodia for a very long time. If you've been to Cambodia,
I haven't.
the famous Angkor Wat temples are there. We moved back in 2007 because of different reasons. One, I think India was on a different path of growth, and Cambodia is a little politically unstable country. So we thought we should move back. And of course, kids' education was also one reason. Then started this skincare journey. The company is now 15 years old.
Wow, congratulations.
So that time we saw the gap in the market. The skincare products were definitely available, but more on the pharmaceutical side. They had the packaging and the looks. Everything was very pharmaceutical, right? Something which you'll buy for after a prescription. So we saw the gap there that you should have a different product like a dermaceutical brand, a good, union between pharma and dermatologist products. So that was our idea. That's how Fixderma was born. And
Nice.
as the name says, we fix your skin, we fix your derm.
Right.
So we are selling online on all marketplaces right now. We are exporting to more than 40 countries.
Wow.
Our presence is very good in Southeast Asia, in GCC countries. We are also present in UK, US, Canada through Amazon. And besides that, our retail presence is also there, which we have just started. It's a very young uh, start in retail.
Nice.
But our derma presence is very good. So around 15,000 dermatologists prescribe fixed derma
Nice.
and FCL skincare, which is our premium range. Pan India, we have 200 plus boys who reach out to dermas and then they prescribe our products.
Wow.
But you don't need a prescription. Don't fall into the pharmaceutical category. You can just go out to any pharmacy or even the store which is inside a doctor's clinic, and you can buy our products.
Nice.
So all products are very result oriented, and they are, focusing or for certain concerns. So
Right.
we have product for each and every concern you can think of
Wow.
related to your skin. And I think, just as you said, we should take care of our body. I think you should take care of your skin, because it's 70% of your body is skin,
Right.
right? And all your organs are covered by this organ. So I think taking care of skin is also very important. Applying a moisturizer, a sunscreen, just take few minutes and very less money. So
Right.
India is changing. We have seen a great awareness in last 15 years. In my journey, I've seen how the dynamics have changed, how our country is really getting more aware. Social media has also played a very big role.
Right.
People are now more aware what they should use, when they should use, what is right for them. So it's happening for good.
That's
So we are very
amazing.
happy. And I think there's a huge scope also, because we have just started. We have just started learning what we should use. So I think there's more. Men are still not so much into skincare. I think that
Right.
part is still lacking. But just you mentioned about Pilates, the same thing for skin too. So I think they all are learning that it's good for them. And looking good, looking fit is like you feel so confident. There's no
Yeah,
harm
I
in it.
agree. If you have great skin
Yeah.
and you don't have a good body, a well-maintained, a well-taken care of body,
Yeah.
you're lacking somewhere. And if you have a well-maintained body and you have bad skin and hair, I
Right.
think it's the whole package that needs to be
Absolutely, absolutely.
good.
Yeah. I think good food. I always say that only topical application, even fixed derma or FCL skincare, won't make you look 100%.
Right.
You need to
Your
have
nutrition.
nutrition has to be correct, mindful eating, exercise, Pilates, aerobics, yoga, gymming, whatever you can do. But I think it's a complete package to stay fit and healthy and look pretty.
Great.
It
Thank
was
you.
amazing talking to you, and actually, I really appreciate your skin. It's
Thank you.
glowing.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so
I think
much.
a lot of credit goes to your exercise. I totally believe in that.
And
Right?
hydration and nutrition.
Hydration, right? Yeah.
That's another thing people don't do. They don't drink enough
Enough
water.
water. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
But now everybody's carrying those buckets everywhere.
And how many finish it?
How many of you finish it?
Yeah.
Right. It's more, I think it's become a fashion trend.
Yeah, it's a fad.
It's a fad, right? But you should drink 2 liters, right? Every day?
See.
3 liters every day? I'm doing 2. So I have to move to 3.
And if you exercise, then more. Like I drink, I think about 4.5 liters of water a day because I work out that much. But I think 2.5 to 3 is the minimum you should be drinking.
We'll take a note of it.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Thank you,
It was
Shel.
wonderful talking to you.
You too.